So he's hello, 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 my honey, hello, my baby, hello, my ragtime gal. Let's hear that again.
Let me just,
And maybe we could record it wild.
Now you'll probably have to adjust your can level, unless that sounded good to you.
Well, that sounded good to me.
Sorry, are you waiting for me?
No, not at all.
I forgot what the heck it's called. Oh, there it is.
We're making it up as we go along.
Well, that's what we learned in improvisational
That's right.
school.
This is all improv, folks. Life is improv. We have this moment right now.
So that
And this
is
moment.
6. Okay.
And this moment. And that moment was this moment. It's always this moment.
It's only this moment.
This is happening right now as you're watching it. In the future, it's the past. Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal. That was a take, but we weren't recording. Hi, I'm Quinton Flynn, and this is my take.
Oh, are you a toaster? Is this yours?
I'm not, but I will be if you want me to.
All right. Quinton's going to read about a toaster now.
Like an old-timey British peasant.
I like it.
Right, an old-timey British peasant. Panther upgraded all appliances and cat's lair with AI program, turned them into his loyal subjects. I'm one of Panther's most loyal machines until it leads the rebellion against me.
I was interested in doing voices since I was a little child. I started doing impressions at the age of 8, and I was doing impressions of impressionists' impressions, like Rich Little, Fred Travelina, Frank Gorshin, and John Biner. And these are guys that people can look up. Look them up. They did TV guest appearances. There was an album called The First Family, which was a parody of the Kennedy administration from the 60s. And here I am as a child in the 70s listening to this stuff and watching these performers and just sucking it all in and regurgitating it. And then also doing impressions of family and friends, which eventually led me into theater. And lo and behold, when I was in university during the summer doing work, I saw an ad for Voiceover workshop, a Voiceover workshop. And there was a local woman in the Cleveland area named Jan Jones, who was a broadcaster. And I thought, wow, voice acting. Maybe I could do something with these voices I have. And maybe it could be some kind of a career. So I went and took this voiceover workshop, and it was for commercials. And that was my first foray into it. And when I graduated university, where I studied radio, TV, film, and theater, within 10 months, I moved to Los Angeles because I knew that if I was going to be in the business, and I always wanted to be in show business, that would have to be New York or LA. And I figured if I was going to struggle, better to do it where it's warm. My second voiceover class was with a guy named Bob Bergen, whom everybody knows. It's the voice of Porky Pig. And he taught me character development. And that was about 30 years ago. And after that, I put together a voice demo with Mary Lynn Wisner through a referral by Bob Bergen. And after I had that demo, it was like a Hollywood movie. I was literally walking down the streets, knocking on doors. Hi, here's my demo and resume. What do you say? Until I ran into Sandy Schnarr in an elevator going up to the floor of her office. I didn't know she was Sandy Schnarr. And I dropped off my demo, and it turns out they needed somebody who was my type. And they brought me in for an interview, and I was terrified. And they liked me, and I liked them, and they offered to represent me. And no one else had, so of course I said yes. And that was the beginning, 28 years ago, maybe.
Right.
Something like that, 26 years ago.
How many years were you with Sandy?
4. My first 4 years. By nature, I'm a method actor, which is why I put on 20 pounds for this interview. No, I kind of mix it up. I go with my gut and whatever they lay out before me. If it's an original character you're talking about,
Yeah.
I look at the picture, I look at the description, and then I kind of play with it, and I give them, in take A what I believe they want, or the first take, and then second take I might adjust it if I think I have something else that is really unique. Other than that, I really just try to give them what I believe they're asking for. And I don't often give a second take unless I'm really certain that I can give them something that's going to make them go, oh, we never thought about that. In a session, it's different. They tend to go with what I've started to give them. You know, they may talk and want to adjust it a little bit here and there, and then it turns into a group thing or a group think, and then we play. In fact, I would say there's a series, a video game series I did called Metal Gear, the Metal Gear series. I have a character named Raiden who, when he's Jack, well, he's Jack or he's Raiden. When he's Jack the Ripper, he's menacing, and he's, you know, he's dark and he's in here. And when he's not, he's in here. So the director, Chris Zimmerman, would say to me, Raiden, Jack, Raiden, Jack. You know, so it was kind of like I had a split personality. But I knew what to do and where to go with that.
Yeah.
Because we had established that. And there would be times that I would kind of slide into the other one. She says, no, Raiden. Oh, right.
Of all the characters that you've voiced,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite, and which one is that?
You've heard this one before. That's like picking your favorite child. Right now, my favorite character is one I created named Jin, spelled Jhin, for a video game series called League of Legends. And it's because they gave me such specific direction. They wanted me to take elements of the Bond villain from Skyfall, Anthony Perkins from Psycho, Michael C. Hall from Dexter, and Kevin Spacey from Seven. And they said, you know, we don't want you to sound like all of them. We want you to take those elements and blend them together and give us your own unique take on that.
Whoa.
So, and being an impressionist, I like to try to stick pretty tight to what I'm hearing. But in this case, they gave me room to breathe, you know. And Anthony Perkins, of course, Mother. What are you talking about, Mother? And Kevin Spacey, I know what's going on with you. And this Bond villain was more in here. And Michael C. Hall eludes me at the moment, but was kind of the creepy factor. So I put it all together, and then I made my own gin soup. And I made him delicious and mellifluous. And suddenly we had this villain who said, you look good enough to eat. And so that booked me the series, and they're going to be doing a lot more with him. But it's the most original character that I've been able to create based on other elements. And so now when I go back in to record and work, they trust me more because he is me and I am him.
Right.
They still give me a reference from the original session. But again, they trust you more. Just like in the Kingdom Hearts series, I play a character named Axel. I've been doing him for years. And the longer I've been doing him, the more he's become me and I've become him. And people have said, you sound so much like him. And it's like, well, yeah. Because it's closer to my speaking voice.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. And then that gives you the confidence to want to be able to give them more and to make suggestions, you know, from a place of humility as a team player. And more often than not, they are open to that.
It's just an interesting, you've got tons of fans. Tons of fans.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
You are. You're big on Twitter.
Yeah, the convention scene's amazing. It's something that I got on board with a number of years ago through Jeff Nimoy, who is a director and an actor and a friend of mine, who was asked to do a convention with someone, and someone bowed out. So they asked me, he asked me if I would go do the show with them. And I thought, well, certainly no one's going to know my work. You know, it's not like these Star Trek conventions where everybody knows everyone. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. They knew my work. I was coming down an escalator with Jeff, and there were fans at the bottom waving, and I'm looking around like, me? yeah, you. And they're dressed up like characters I've done in animated series, anime, and video games. And that was my introduction to that. And that was at least 12 years ago, maybe more. I've been doing the convention scene on and off that long.
Uh-huh.
And it's taken me all across the United States. It's taken me to Ireland, England. A week ago, I was in Saudi Arabia, Scotland, Canada. And it's fascinating because for an anonymous type of profession that we have as voice actors, there is an enormous fan base out there globally because they get our stuff and they want to know the minutia. You know, they want to know kind of what I was talking about earlier when I got into doing impressions. I wanted to know the guys behind the voices, and I started looking up liner notes on albums as to who these actors and actresses were. Well, it's no different with voice acting for video games, anime, and animation. They want to know who we are, and then when we show up at these conventions, we have fans, and they're blown away. And we're blown away because oftentimes I find they know more about my work than I do. They know more about the world. They've gotten into it the same way that I've gotten into music artists or actors who have inspired me. And there's a great love and a give and take between us. There is a lot of gratitude on both sides. And it's also awesome to be able to educate, entertain, and inspire. And that's what I do when I do my question and answer panels. And then I'll do some, kind of improvisational stand-up, as well as educating and inspiring them if they want to get into the business that we're in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's an amazing thing. It's mind-blowing. And people will bring up characters I've done that I have forgotten. In fact, when I was in Saudi Arabia, someone said, I know what your first character was that you did in animation. And it was actually Prince Khalid, which was very appropriate for Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a guest spot I had done for Disney's Aladdin TV series.
Wow.
Many, many, many years ago.
And you had forgotten about Prince Khalid?
Yeah, just because there is a certain number of characters that are on the minds of the fans when I go to the conventions, and there's a half a dozen or more that they're always talking about, but rarely would anybody bring up Prince Khalid or, Man in the Pool from...
Which I heard you were brilliant.
I was brilliant as Man in the Pool in Hey Arnold. Yeah, so good. Yeah.
Is there a specific character you're most requested for conventions? Is there a character like...
Right now it's Axel and Lee from the Kingdom Hearts series. Kingdom Hearts 3 is out right now and it's very hot. Also Raiden from the Metal Gear series. Jin from League of Legends. Reno from the Final Fantasy series. Then in anime it would be Cone from Bleach.
Who's a fuzzy, plushy little lion who's a pervert.
Typecasting. And then a guy named Iruka Sensei, who is a mentor to Naruto and many of these other young ninjas. And a lot of young people have said, I grew up on him and I grew up on you, and that really helped me through hard times. And I see you as a father figure.
Wow.
Which is lovely. And then in the Kingdom Hearts series, again, a lot of people said, you got me through some hard times of depression. That game really changed my life. So we never know what we're doing and how it's affecting people personally and privately. And it's not just, again, in America, but it's overseas. So it just shows that we're all the same. One of my favorites is Dragon Con in Atlanta, just because it's like Mardi Gras. It's some of the most amazing costumes you'll ever see in your life. It's fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Aside from that, no, I'm happy to show up anywhere. I'll go to the opening of an envelope. I will stand on my head and spit nickels.
Okay, let's talk about your band.
Right, the Snosberries.
Yeah, tell us about the Snosberries official, like all about it.
Yeah, Snosberries is what we're wanting to do is make it into a jukebox musical. And that's something like Jersey Boys, or one of the original jukebox musicals was The Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. Spinal Tap, this is Spinal Tap. Those are all shows that, whether they're cinematic or staged, have a beginning, middle, and end. There's a story arc along with original music, or sometimes covers. Mostly original music. And what we're doing with our show is it's three brothers with the same mother who was a groupie and slept around. My father was Paul McCartney from our mother's tete-a-tete with Paul and the Beatles' final tour. My brother, Remington, who is a ginger, his father would be Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family. And then we have Orville, played by Cody Schmidt, who looks like one of the Allman Brothers. And when asked which one of the Allman Brothers is your father, he says, all of them. So Mom got around.
I see.
And we are latchkey kids. We grew up in Liverpool. So that's where, the Paul McCartney impression comes in, Liverpool, eh? But no, it's Liverpool, Ohio. So my brother's always busting my chops to drop the accent.
I see.
And so we had a conflict, we had a group, we had success, and then we all broke up. And now the story is we've come together for this reunion tour, and that's what this show is about. And we have original songs, we have cover songs of TV shows that influenced us, cartoons that influenced us, and movies that influenced us. Everything from Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka to Moving On Up from the Jeffersons. Maybe Scooby-Doo, Speed Racer, things like that.
Very fun.
So it's a fun time capsule.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you do live concerts?
We're doing live shows, yeah. And
Shows?
We're looking to see, we may do concerts in the future, maybe some convention tours. R. Scott Vaughn plays my brother Remington, and he has a band called Big in Japan. Cody Schmidt plays Orville. He has a band called Myth and Company. I'm Quinton Flynn. I have a band called Quinton Flynn. And together we are the Snosberries. And we are as lickable as wallpaper. Goodnight, Moon. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of
Christopher Lloyd.
The cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs.
Michael J. Fox.
And 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens. And a little toy house and a young mouse, Doc.
Gary Busey.
And a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush. And a quiet old lady who was whispering hush.
Tom Jones.
It's not unusual to say goodnight, room.
what else would he sing?
Good night, moon. Good night, cow. Jumping over the moon. Yeah.
Paul McCartney.
Good night, light. Good night, the red balloon. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs. That's the thing you do. Good night, kittens. And good night, mittens. It's great stuff.
Christopher Walken.
Good night, clocks. Good night, socks. Good night, little house. And good night, mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Good night, comb. And good night, brush. Oh, I love brushes. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush.
Goofy.
Yeah, Goofy. And good night to the old lady whispering hush. I love the old lady. Good night, stars. The good night air. Good night noises everywhere.
That's all I've got for you. Good night, moon.